Okay, we are going to be reviewing another client's worksheet today. And the reason that we are doing the reviews where we talk about how you can get out of debt very, very quickly and how it's going to look when you get your strategy set up. That's exactly what we're doing here is we want to make sure that you have options on what you're going to use for your strategy if you're using the velocity banking concept. So I am hearing a lot of good things from you guys that you're getting out of debt. You're getting into peace. That's what it's about, is let's get into some peace so that we can focus on things that are important to us, such as family. We want to make money. Everybody wants to make money. You just don't want to throw away what money you are making. And we find ourselves in the system that we're currently in, especially here in the United States, that we are overwhelmed with the debt. We have record highs in credit card debt. And it's just important that you know how to deal with your credit cards so that you can get free. And I am living proof that you can get free, even if you are a single mother and you literally have nobody helping you. You can come up out of the struggle. It's just about the tools you're using at the bank. And I know that sounds like a really simple, easy fix, but that's the truth. When you don't know how to use the bank, you're going to get taken advantage of. Okay. You can't go to some loan shark and expect them to give you a good deal on a loan. We know when we hear the word or the phrase loan shark, hold on, because you're going to get taken advantage of. Okay. So when you are dealing with a bank, it's the same thing. You're going to get taken advantage of if you don't know how to use the tools at the bank. But guess what? The banks aren't only set up to sink you, they are set up to bring you to higher places if you know how to use it. So I'm not mad at the banks because they definitely give us tools to use that's going to make things very easy for us. But at the same time, if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get in trouble with them. So, what can we relate that to? I mean, just about anything, like if you go to change the oil in your car and you don't know which cap to remove to pour the oil in or to let the oil out, uh, it's going to dump on you. And it's the same thing with the banks. You have to know how to use the bank so that you won't get into trouble. And if I were to tell you that 99% of you guys are using the wrong tools at the bank, you would tell me, you're crazy. This is what we were told to do. Well, yeah, that's what you were told to do. Why? Because you are going to pay more money if you're using the wrong tools. Do you really think that the billionaires of the world are getting loans? Do you think they have mortgages on their homes? Come on, people. We got to wake up. We got to wake up. So that's what this channel teaches you, is how to get things back under control so that you are not feeling so overwhelmed and so stressed out about your debt. Okay? I want you there. I'm there. And I know that if I can get here, you guys can come right on with me. And that's why we have all of these free lessons, is so that you can get your debt under control. So what you're about to see is absolutely free. Oh my gosh, that rhymed. That rhymed. I didn't know I was poetic. You can get free though. And you cannot just be free with the debt, but you can move on then into wealth, doing things that's going to help you and your family Live free. That's what all of this is about. So I want y'all to hang on because we're going to work on a client now. He is one of my 4-week students, and he is wanting to see what he can do about his debt. So we're going to go over what kind of debt that he actually has, and he feels like he's in trouble, but I don't feel like he's in trouble. And I don't know if I'm looking at his numbers wrong, but I can't figure out why he would feel like that he's in serious problems here, because he looks good to me, which most of the people that come to me and they're totally stressed out about, what's going on with their debt, usually you're in so much better shape than you think you are. You just don't know that you are. You have to know what's going on with your numbers. And it's so important that you sit down and you write down all of your debts. Okay. Write down the balances, write down the payments, find out what the interest rates are. Then watch some videos. Okay. When you watch the videos, you're going to see different scenarios that may be just like the one that you're in. And when you realize, wait a minute, this person just got out of debt in 86 months. How did they do that? Watch the videos. Don't say something is a scam. Don't say that something, oh, that's a waste of my time. If you're in trouble with your finances, get out. I know that sounds so simple, but get out. You are finding ways to get out when you watch the videos, okay? Don't watch mine. I don't care if you got a problem with me or not. Go to another channel that teaches velocity banking and watch their channel. I don't care. But get educated, because once you're educated, you'll never go back to the struggle that you're in financially, okay? So we're going to talk about his income and his debt, but we'll call it, let's just see what kind of debt he's got. Okay, because I have not honestly even looked at his worksheet yet. So I glanced at it and I'm like, oh, I think we can work this out, but let's just actually go through the numbers. So he has a mortgage, and the balance is 80,000. See, when I see stuff like that, I'm like, $80,000, that's not any debt, not on a home, but we're going to say 81,000 because he actually is at $80,991.94. So his payment is $1,335. He also has a HELOC. I love the HELOCs. They are so easy to work with. So now this mortgage is at 3.25%. The HELOC balance he has at 85,993.33. So let's do 85,994. Then we've got, he has a solar third position. I don't even know what that means. Is he saying that this is a third mortgage? Oh my gosh. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna write it down. Third, you very seldom see third mortgages. What that means is the mortgage is in the first position, the HELOC is in the second position, and then he has another loan at the third position. Ouch. Okay, let's see what he's got. Current balance 51,400, let's say. Okay, and then he has, the payment on that is $224. The HELOC, this is at 7 point, what was that percent? 7.75, so I'll have to calculate what his interest is on that. Says that he pays $865. So we'll figure that up here in a minute. He has a credit card, number 1. That balance is $1,301. And he pays, it doesn't say. Oh, he says this is being used as his expense card. Now, we were talking about what is an expense card when we call it that here on this VANNtastic channel. And the expense card he's using right now means that he's taking some of his living expenses and he is actually putting them onto the credit card. So if you have $600 in food expense every month, and you know it, and you have $200 for gas for your car every month, and maybe you pay $100 for Netflix and cable, whatever, then we'll say subscriptions. And then you have $400 in utility bills. And then let's say you have $200 in car insurance. All right, so let's total this up. So we've got, I think we've got 1,500, 6, 10, 13, 14, 15, 1,600. Okay, so 1,600 in expenses, okay? Now, if he took a $1,300 credit card that he's got this balance on, and he were to put into the credit card 1,301 to pay this balance off to 0, so his income goes in, brings the credit card down to 0, and now his expenses start coming back out. So he pays $600 for food throughout the month. He pays $200 for gas throughout the month, $100 for a subscription. So see, he just keeps, as this stuff comes due, as the electric bill comes due, he pays it with the credit card. As he goes to the restaurant, he pays for it with the credit card. When he stops to get gas, he pays for it with the credit card. So the point is that your income is going in, and in his situation, it would pay off his balance. Then he would charge back out throughout the month. So this satisfies his monthly payment that's due on the card. Plus, it keeps the card in almost a paid off balance every month, so that the banks think that, wow, he's doing really good. He's keeping his credit cards paid off. Okay. So this is a great way to help you if you are in a paycheck to paycheck situation and you don't have any extra money left in a month. You can start using your credit cards like that. It will satisfy your monthly payment, and that is going to help you free up some cash flow. All right, so let's look at his next credit card. He has a city that has a balance of $47.99. Let's say $4,800, and he pays. Okay, he doesn't have the minimum payment. Okay, $167. And then credit card number 3 is, oh, it only has a $183 balance. Let's just leave that one off. He doesn't have a balance on his other credit cards. Let's make this one, let's make this PayPal. because this is a PayPal he has, so we'll put that in here, and it's $793. And the payment on that is $75. Now his car insurance is $111. So let's see what this looks like. Because if that's all the debt he has, he doesn't have any problems. All right, it says his credit score was about 830 until he did some home improvements. He's at 37% usage. He got the HELOC. He's now making $7,000 per month because he got a new job. He has a little bit of retirement, so he said he went back to work so that he could make sure he can afford all of his bills. But he looks like he's doing really good. So his income, he has $35.77 per month. And then let's add up what he's got here in payments. We're not even going to count this because he's using that as an expense card. So $85,994 is the balance of his HELOC. Times 7.75% means that he is paying $555 in interest only. So I'm going to change this 7.75. I'll put it up here as this is his interest. And then say he's paying $556 per month there. Okay, so 556, 224, 167, 75, and then his house payment is $1335. All right, so his total monthly payments are $2357 on the debt. And let's see what his living expenses are. So $3577 income. Oh, guys, wow. Okay, so his living expenses are, he must be a single man. So right at 1,300. So we're going to put, can you all see this? Am I up too high? 1,300 living expenses. So that means his food, gas, utilities look like that they're coming to about 1,300. That's pretty low. So we're going to kind of leave a lot of room for error here so that we make sure that we're covering everything that he maybe left off, because we don't want to, you know, give you a picture of something that's not really a true, you know, we just kind of want to be truthful about the scenario that we're giving you here so that we're not just acting like, you know, you're going to be debt free faster than you are. Kind of want to be real about what's going on in the finances, okay? So with his income, $3577, we're going to subtract the 1,300 in living expenses. And then we're going to subtract his mortgage payment, his HELOC, his third mortgage, the credit cards, the other credit cards. And you know what? It shows that he is about $80 in the negative. So he has a negative cash flow of $80. All right. So how can we fix this situation? What options does he have to maybe come out of this crazy debt and get back under control? Well, remember he took on the new truck job. So the 3577 And then he's making about 3,400 more in his new job. So this was his retirement, 3,577, and he's driving a truck now, making about 3,400 a month. Okay. So when you add in this 3,400, it's going to bring him out of his negative cash flow. But that being said, I want to see what we can do for him without adding the additional income, because what if he's older and what if he can't keep up the job for long, right? We don't want the best case scenario. We want the worst case scenario, meaning that if he loses his job or if he gets unable to work, we want to know where he's going to be at the permanent income that he has right now. That is at 3,577. Okay. So here we go. A couple of things. First, we realize here that his home is of more value than 81,000 because he has a HELOC at 85,994 and he has this third mortgage. So all of that is home debt. So let's add that up. We have 81,000 for the mortgage, 85,994 for the HELOC, and 51,400 for this third mortgage. So that means that on his property, he has 218,394 in debt. Okay, so this is his property debt. What can we do with this that's going to help us with these monthly payments? Well, there's a couple of things. One, he may be able to move into the first lien HELOC, and according to his credit score, he's over 700. So I don't know why he wouldn't be able to move into this first lien. The first lien pays off anything you owe on your property. So it'll pay off the mortgage, the HELOC, and the third mortgage. So how does the first lien work? Well, they're going to take your home's value and they're going to appraise it, of course, to get the correct value, whatever the appraiser says your home is worth. They'll send that to the bank. And then if you're in most states in the United States, you're going to get about an 85 to a 90% loan to value. Okay, so let's assume that his property is worth $300,000. So what is the loan to value on a $300,000 property in most states? Now we've got Texas, Alaska, Hawaii, Maryland, and New York. They're a bit different and their loan to value is usually up to 80%. We're going to calculate 85% as the loan to value to kind of be in the middle. So 85% of 300,000 is 255,000 loan to value. So when they get the appraisal back, they're going to take it, like I said, averaging 80 to 90%, which is 255,000 for 300,000. And this could be your line of credit. So the HELOC, okay? So when we say HELOC, this is the home equity line of credit. These are a simple interest product. Okay, simple interest. That means that your interest is calculated on your average daily balance. So meaning that if you have 255,000 as a balance one day, and then your income goes in and say it reduces it to 250,000, then the bank is going to calculate what that average daily balance looked like and then take it times whatever the interest rate is. So we're going to say that what we're working with today is going to have an 8% interest. And I know for you guys who have not watched the channel, you're freaking out about right now. You're like, oh my gosh, 8%? That's horrible. Okay. You need to do a little bit of studying here. You need to figure out, what we're talking about, because we're not talking about a loan interest. We're talking about a line interest. Two totally different measurements, like the Fahrenheit and the Celsius, right? Two totally different measurements of temperature, but yet they're accurate if you know which one you're looking at. Same on the line and the loan. You have to know the difference in the interest, okay? Now, if we take this 8% and we apply it to this amount that he owes, then we're going to know if this is a product that will work for him. Does the bank use your income or the home as collateral to approve you? Your home will be collateral, just like with a mortgage. The HELOC uses your home as the collateral as well. So they would come in with this $255,000 limit they gave him, and they would pay off this $218,394. So now the mortgage is gone, the HELOC is gone, and the third mortgage is gone. All right. So let's calculate what the interest will be on this line compared to what he's paying over here. And let's just see if we can make this work for him. Okay. So what's going to happen with this line is his income, and remember, we're just going to show the 3577, the 1300s as living expenses. But we're going to show what that's going to look like if he just uses this product with that low income. And I want to see if it's going to work out, because it may not work out. Remember, he's making more money. So if he can make the additional money for a couple of years, I can about guarantee it's going to work out. It's going to look very pretty. Okay. So the income would go in 3577. Then his expenses, remember, at 1300. And I'm going to make this a little bit more. I'm going to say he's got 1600. I'm going to give him some room. So 1600 in living expenses. Now, another thing that they could do is pay off this credit card and this credit card into this line. And that means that he wouldn't have these payments either. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to add the 4,800 for credit card number 1 or number 2. And then the 793 for credit card number 3. So let's add up and see what kind of totals we've got here. So 218,394, 3577, and then 1600. Okay, Christy, this is a negative minus here, guys. This was his income. I was considering that an expense. We're going to start over. 218,394, subtract 3577 for his income going in. We'll talk more about that. 1,600 for expenses coming out throughout the month. He has to eat, he has to buy gas. Now we're going to pay off the 2 credit cards in this line too. So 4,800 and 793. So we're at 22,000. Nope, $222,010. Okay. So this is for the whole first month. Okay, so he's approved for the $255,000 line. He used $218,394 to pay off everything that was on his property. He has $1,600 in expenses every month for food, gas, utilities, subscriptions, whatever, car insurance. Then he has a $4,800 balance on a credit card we paid off and a $793 balance, so we paid off on another one. And then his income went in here too, okay? Meaning that the balance into the closing statement is going to be about $222,010. So we're going to calculate what the interest looks like for his first month. So we're going to take this times, and let's say it's at 8%. So $222,010 times 8%. That equals $17,760.80. Now, remember, when we're doing a simple interest calculation, this 8% of your balance is for the whole year. That's for the whole year. So we have to divide that by 12 for 12 months. So let's divide by 12, $1,480. Okay, well, with 6 cents. Okay, so $1,480 would be his interest on this total to pay off his home and to pay off the credit cards. So let's look and see if just using his income of that retirement, $3,577, is even going to work for him. Okay. So when his income goes in on this line, it's going to satisfy the interest amount that he owes. Okay, so if he has the very first month, and it's going to be his highest month of interest, the very first month is $1,481, let's say. So he has $1,600 in living expenses that he has to pay every month. Everything else is paid off. So that means that, $3,081. Well, he brings in $3,577. So if we take $3,577 and subtract $3,081, well, looky there. It looks like he's got some cash flow. He has $496 in cash flow now. Now, what does that look like for the payoff overall? What would that mean? How long is it going to take him to pay off all of this debt if he just uses his retirement income only? What does that look like for him? So if we have $1,481, remember, for his monthly interest, the very first month, the way I calculate how that's going to look over the payoff of this whole amount, I divide it by 2. That way we're getting an average interest from beginning being his highest interest that he'll pay. The very last payment he makes will have 0 interest, right? So beginning to end, let's see what the average interest is going to look like. So 1481 divided by 2. So his average interest would be about $741 per month. Now, let's see what that looks like for a payoff of this debt. So 218, 394 plus 4,800. Remember, we paid off the credit card and the other one. So he had a total debt going in of 223,987. So I'm going to erase this. We're going to go back up here because he is going to put all of his debt into this line and eliminate all of his monthly payments. And let's just see what that looks like with this average interest, what he's going to be paying. So 200, and we're going to say 224,000 pays off all debt that he's showing right here. Now this is his expense card, so it's going to be paid off every month anyway. So here we go. 31,000 is what he's going to have available out of this 255 after all of this is paid off. So this 31,000 being available, well, that feels good to know that you have $30,000 sitting on the side that you're able to pull from if you have that Dave Ramsey life event that's going to happen, right? He doesn't have to have, you know, like $31,000 sitting in a savings account somewhere, okay? So the point is that this is available in the event you have anything happen, you need money. But this balance is going to keep going down, okay? It's going to keep going down because he has cash flow that's working it down every month, even with the 3577. So again, we're going to talk about how his income is going to go in. So 3577 income for the first month. Let's just do our calculations here. So 224, 3577 coming into it to bring $220,423. Now let's add in his living expenses. And remember, I made him a little high to what he was showing. All right. And then we're going to add in his average interest, 741. This is not the first month. This is the average interest from beginning to end. And then we're going to see what it looks like for a complete debt elimination. How long is it going to take him to pay off $224,000 with just his retirement? So you take the income, 3577, subtract out his monthly expenses that we are showing a little bit more than he showed, and then the average interest, meaning you're dealing with a $1,236 cash flow overall. And so if we take 224 divided by 1236 income or cash flow, that means in using these numbers, he would be paid off in 16.5 years. Okay. Now, what you need to consider is if you're in this situation, what is that additional income that he's going to be bringing in? Okay. Yes, he would be able to borrow the whole 255,000, because that is 85% of the 300,000. So if he was approved for the loan to value percent, whatever that is, whatever his appraisal comes back, that's what the line of credit would be for, that amount, the loan to value. I hope that makes sense. So 16.5 years is so much faster than a 30-year mortgage, right? So much faster. But if he were to bring in his 3,400 additional income, what does that mean? Okay, the HELOCs, especially the first lien that I'm aware of, is yes, you can keep it for the 16.5 years in the all-in-one. It's the same thing as a first lien. All-in-one is a name of another product that does this here. Now, the first lien HELOC that I use as well in the other states besides Texas, Maryland, Alaska, Hawaii, and New York, they have a 10-year where you can draw for 10 years on the HELOC, and then you can refi it at any time into another HELOC. So you should never go into the repayment period on a HELOC. You just should not. I never have, and unless, you know, America blows up and we do something different, I'm going to always refi the HELOC when it's coming to the end of the draw period, because I am not going into a loan, okay? That repayment period is nothing but an amortization schedule, and there's no need for you to go into that. Okay, so, but yes, the all-in-one, it does. There's some stipulations, but it does keep going past the 10-year draw period. Now let's just go ahead and calculate his income into this process, and let's see how fast he's going to be able to pay this new line of credit off if he uses the whole amount that he has coming in currently with his new job. So we're going to take 3,577, that's his permanent retirement, and then his new income, 3,400, that's $6,977 in income coming in. So 224,000, 69.77, that's $217,023. Now we have to add in his living, and let's just increase his living expenses, because maybe he gets a little excited with his new income and he is like splurging throughout the month. Okay, so let's say that he has $2,100 in living expenses. Okay, because we want to leave plenty of room for people to live and be excited to live. He's older, he's retired. He should be allowed to spend what he needs to spend. Maybe he wants to go on vacations, whatever. We don't want people to be frugal, because that's stupid, and I don't like to be frugal either. So your expenses come out, and now we're going to calculate that interest, remember? It's $741 still for his average interest throughout the payoff of this line. Okay. You know what? Let's just get really stupid and say, you know what? Let's don't figure the average. Let's act like that he's going to pay the high all the way through. So, see what this looks like. So 1482. Let's just say that this is going to be ridiculous interest, that it's like 20% and it's not just 8. So let's just calculate the highest interest that we could possibly calculate on this account and see what it looks like. So we've got 219, and I'll just add it here. All right, so 220 would be the balance, including the interest at the end of the first month going into the second month. What do we look like with a payoff when it comes to high expenses, higher than he gave me, and then the highest interest that he will pay on this line of credit? So we're going to take his $69.77 income, subtract $2,100 for his expenses, subtract $1,482 for his high interest, and wow. So we took the income, subtract his living expenses, what he's paying for food, gas, everything else, because when his income goes into this new line of credit with the $224,000 balance, he's satisfied any monthly payment that will be due on this line, which is his interest. So when the $69.77 goes in, whether you're paid daily, weekly, biweekly, or monthly, it doesn't matter. When it goes in, it's going to satisfy his interest for that month, which is what they're going to say is due. So that means that he has $3,395 in cash flow. This is so wrong because he's only going to pay this for 1 month. It's going to go down every single month, but okay, I'll play the game. So this is his cash flow, $3,395. And we're going to take 224,000 because that's the balance. Divide it by the 33.95. He is going to be paid off in 66 months. 66 months, 5.5 years. He will be out of this debt completely with all of the high interest. So he might be out of debt in 2.5 years, not charging the high interest. And then that means that he doesn't have to keep this job. He doesn't have to keep working if he doesn't want to, because even after a couple of years doing this, even if it's not paid off, he's going to be able to handle the interest based on the $3,577. Guys, he's got over 15 years left right now. Over 15 years left. That is paying off all of his debt in 66 months or 5.5 years. And you may be sitting there doing the exact same thing. And if you're like I was at the beginning, then you are sitting there doing the exact same thing. I'm here to tell you it's not your fault that you're in debt. It's not your fault that you're living paycheck to paycheck. It's because of crap like this that they got you into, and you felt like you had to step into it because you didn't have any options. They're telling high school students right now in my area, the banks are going around to the schools talking to them about the bank tools. And guess what? They're introducing, we do student loans for that university bill you're going to have to pay for. We will let you buy a home when you've had a job for a little while, and we'll put you in a mortgage. And guess what? You're going to get a low payment for this big, huge home. Just like he has. $1,335 a month on an $81,000 balance, and he maybe had $250 loan when he started. $250,000 loan. So I'm telling you, stop waiting for the government to get you out of debt. Stop thinking that you're entitled to something special, because you're not. You have a responsibility, and that is get educated in what the tools at the bank do, how they work. And once you understand that, you're home free. Just like Mr. Paul here, he is going to be home free in less than 7 years. And you know what? I didn't tell you guys, he also has another income that's getting ready to start. That's about $3,000 more a month. This guy could be out of debt in less than 2 years, and I don't care if he goes on vacation every month. And he thought he had at least 15 years left. And that's not having any money. When we started, if you remember, he was in a negative cash flow, $80 a month negative. And he does not need to be there. You don't need to be there. I can't tell you how easy this is going to be for you. And it's not magic. It's really not. It looks like magic, but it's not magic. And if you can't get a line of credit, if you can't, your credit score is sunk. Let's say that you had collections. Do you have collections? Do you have late payments over 30 days, over 60 days, over 90 days, and they have tanked your credit score? I did. Have you had a bankruptcy and you feel like you're completely lost? Have you gone to a national debt relief and you feel like you've been sucked into a dark hole? Well, you have. You have, but you can come out of that. Money Max will do amazing things for you, better than this, even if you don't have a line of credit, even if you can't get a line of credit. So for goodness sake, do not be discouraged, because we have options to help you. And guess what? All of these are free learning opportunities for you. The Money Max is a free personal analysis. It will show you how the system works. It will show you how it's going to work for you before you even think about walking into that one. So for goodness sake, guys, get encouraged. We're in the springtime of the year. Everything is new. And guess what? Your thought process about your finances may be new now. And that's important, because we need to live while we're alive. We don't need to be stressing out about the debt and about, all this. And you don't need a second job. Oh my gosh. If you make over $3,000 a month, you don't need a second job. You don't need to deliver pizzas, and you don't need to eat beans and rice. You need to get educated about what kind of tools that you're using at the bank. That's it. Okay? If you guys want to join me tonight, there's a live webinar with the Money Max tonight. You're welcome to join me there. That's free. Just like this live you got to see just now is free. I didn't sell you anything. I just gave you free information. All you got to do is get educated. Okay? I'm going to put the link for, let me put the link for the Money Max in here where we're going to be tonight. You are welcome to join me, completely free. That way you can have an idea of what the Money Max is. If you want to go with it, fine. If you don't, at least you can say that you got educated on it, okay? So this is tonight at 7 p.m. Central Time. I'll put that in here. You can join me there again tonight. I was going to do it on a live, but I think we've just decided to. Well, it's going to be a live webinar, but it's not going to be through my YouTube channel. So you do have to register here if you're going to join us tonight. So that is in the chat. And I hope you can join us. If you can't, I completely understand. The point is that if you're serious about your finances and you're serious about stopping the struggle and you're serious about getting out of debt, then I'm telling you, this is going to be awesome. This is going to be awesome. I'm using the YouTube chat, okay? So the Money Mix is in there for you to join us tonight at 7 p.m. Central Time. Okay, I'm going to jump off of here. I just wanted to come on and talk to you about this guy who I think is going to do excellent. He's going to be so excited when I talk to him. I'm so excited. I just appreciate you guys showing up. It's my honor and my privilege to get to talk to you all about your finances because I want to see everybody free. I don't care if you make 1,000 a month or 100,000 a month. You need to know how to use the tools at the bank so that you can, one, break free if you're tied up and entangled in this mess, or two, never get into the mess. Okay? All right. So I'm also going to have the link to Money Max underneath this video. So join us tonight if you feel like doing that. You're very welcome. I appreciate you guys, and I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Hopefully, I'll see you tonight. If not, I will see you in the next video.